here with Ayannah and Paul, who are the coordinators of the Viking encampment here in the Athlone River Festival. When did you set up? Did you set up last night? Are you here for the full weekend?
We started setting up yesterday morning because we have, as well as our own folks, we have some visitors from England, and they travelled over and they're here with us for the weekend.
Fantastic. So how many altogether did you bring with you?
We've probably 67 or 68 people, all Viking reenactors dressed similar to yourselves.
That's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people, and we're here to entertain Athlone again. It was great when we've been asked to come back because we have been treated really well by the people in Athlone last year. It was a great weekend. And so even more people wanted to come and join us this year.
Fantastic. And how many would you do during the course of the year? This type of festival or thing?
Depends from year to year, but probably 5 or 6. So that we would organise ourselves from this size to a lot bigger.
Right. And what does that entail? If you're only doing 5 say a year, like how much planning is involved in that one weekend? And surely it doesn't take a few days, it must take a lot of planning.
It takes
months.
Yeah. So a lot of the dates are set way in advance.
Yeah.
And the same dates, for instance, like Athlone River Festival, it's the bank holiday weekend every year. So we basically know from before Christmas. So we're putting some of the things in motion as early as that. And for some of the bigger festivals that we're either organising, there's a lot of work in between from, say, December through to May to make it all happen.
It's really busy.
Yes.
The logistics behind the scenes is people just cannot realise if you have, say, several hundred Vikings coming along from a lot of different European countries. So we would make a plan even for the encampment that we have here. We have laid out a plan on the ground so that we have complementary people beside each other.
Yeah.
So that as the public walk around and talk to people, they're getting, to see different skills, different types of people as they spend their time here.
It's like stepping back in time into a village of 1,000 years ago, and we want people to experience that with all their senses. So there's cooking demonstrations, the warriors talk about their skills and demonstrate it, and there's loads of craft displays and other displays about mythology.
In regards to looking at your attire is amazing. Everything that you make is authentic, and it's handmade.
We aim to be as authentic as possible, and our clothes, for example, are based on clothes the people would have worn 1,000 years ago. So my dress is made out of linen. My belt is a tablet weave belt from an archaeological find from 1,200 years ago, and so my hood is made out of wool that people would have used in the past.
And I can see, obviously, as you're carrying a knife, but I know that in the Viking heritage that women fought alongside on the battlefield. That show the shield maidens, is that?
There's a lot of discussions about that. Some people say yes, some people say no. We do believe that they definitely had to have different skills because it was a much harsher life they lived. And they sometimes had to fend for their life.
It's an interesting question in a way, because if you think of times before, let's call it the civilized life that we have in 2025, you would have, I'd say almost everyone would have carried at least a knife because you needed it for everything that you were doing all day. And you needed the knife to, if you had bread, to slice your own piece of bread or cheese or whatever you had. And we know from the style of axes that, and the livelihood that people had, that most people were not warriors. Most people were farmers and things like that, and they had an axe for their everyday life. And then when their earl or their chieftain called them to go raiding somewhere, the only weapon they had was the axe that they were using on their farm or wherever, and they took that with them.
Right.
Because very few people were full-time warriors.
And
They
would have
were-
been able to afford a sword.
That's a whole different story. And during the warrior demonstration, which is one of the things that we did earlier, one of our guys was telling about the differences between axes, spears, swords, etc. The amount of metal in an axe is, you can see it, but the amount of metal in a sword is about 10 times as much. But there's maybe a year's work in making a really classy sword. And it's estimated that the value of a sword in Viking times, translated today, would have been something like a top-class sports car, a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. You know, $250,000 maybe.
So in reality, then, when you see, they would have, when they raided, they would have taken weapons off their counterparts and used their.
Oh, if you killed someone that was carrying a sword, you didn't go on without his sword. That's for sure. You know, and so the TV tends to portray things fairly differently at times from what was actually the case. So it looks good to have a whole battlefield and all the warriors have got swords, whereas the reality would have been most would have had spears or axes, and only the very wealthy would have had swords.
So off camera, we were talking that you once a year do a massive event.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
It's kind of our passion baby, isn't it? So we were crazy enough a few years ago to come up with this idea, why don't we create a festival in Ireland, similar to our events in Scandinavia, mainland Europe, which attracts reenactors from Europe, from other countries, which is an authentic reenactment festival for reenactors, but allows the public to come in and experience 500 Vikings instead of 60 Vikings.
And you also mentioned that you have the real boats,
Yes.
the long boats as well. That must be.
So we're fortunate enough that we had a chance meeting with Slane Castle. So we hold an event usually in May every year at Slane Castle, which has fantastic grounds, and the River Boyne flows slowly alongside. So we put at least 2 of our 40-foot Viking longships on the River Boyne as part of this big event every year.
And it's called Boyne Valley Viking Experience.
So that setup would have, say, in and around 500 Vikings, maybe more if you include their children, because we've grown a very family-oriented event.
Yeah.
Which a lot of the events tend to be just for warriors. But we've brought families together, so the women and their kids who all dress and take part like that are very welcome, and the kids love it.
Yes.
Kids love it. And so take that all in all, we probably had more, if you include the kids, more than 500, in a tented encampment of nearly 200 tents. So sort of picture what that looks like. Authentic canvas tents, and during the public opening hours, you don't see any modern materials at all. It's wooden cups or pottery cups, no Coke tins and so forth, etc.
And also we noticed in the village as well, there's a lot of animals.
Yes, yes.
That's what you probably, 200 tents must be. What type of animals? I know were they hounds, or were they wolfhounds?
The wolfhounds.
We have 3 Irish wolfhounds with us today.
And do you use lurchers as well, or is that?
They're mainly wolfhounds. And then I have mine, little collie. that joins me now and then.
So when you have the animals, like, would you have obviously like sheep or goats or something?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And of course, one of our long-time friends from Ravenhaven Aviaries, Shay and Dave, bring across their tame owls and ravens, and that's a huge spectacle because you can wear one of the thick leather gloves and have a big raven, and they're a huge bird when you see them up close. They're far bigger than a crow.
I was shocked at how big they actually
Yeah.
were.
Yeah.
They were amazing. Yeah, it was lovely to see that mix of animals.
It adds to the experience. Yeah.
And I have to say that all the kids that we did see were loving the experience.
Yeah, what we're about is, it's no longer the days where you can attract people to come to a museum where they just look at stuff.
Yeah.
We want them to actually smell it and touch it and feel it and have that whole experience.
Experience all senses.
You can see from the look on people's faces that they get all of that and they enjoy it.
And do you have a website or anything that people who are watching this can go and find out a little bit more about where you are?
BoyneValleyEvents.com.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Yep. And we have a Facebook page for that big event, which is Boyne Valley Viking Experience. You can see that on Facebook. And there'll be loads of fantastic photographs from there.
That's something that we'll definitely make next year. That sounds amazing.
You'd be very, very welcome to come and
Yes.
take photographs, and you could even, this year, believe it or not only from Europe, but we had Viking reenactors came from both the US and Australia, especially to Ireland for the event. And I'll put both a plug and a nudge into Board Fáilte, in that we have with the people that come for the experience to Boyne Valley each May, we are probably having thousands of bed nights into the local economy as a result, because the folks from both Australia and America stayed in Ireland for a month, and then loads of our other folks, maybe 100 or up to a couple of hundred, are staying for maybe a couple of weeks. Translate that into bed nights for the local economy, and it's huge.
Yeah.
That's a huge amount. That was fantastic. Ayannah and Paul, thank you so much for your time and for the wonderful festival you put on. Like, it's amazing.
It's
every
great to
year.
be back in Athlone.
And it's just lovely to see another side to.
It's a compliment to Porrig and his team for their organisation in doing this, because we know from our experience it doesn't work unless they have a whole team that are working behind the scenes for weeks and weeks and weeks to make it happen.
And it's fantastic. And look, we'll see you again. We'll definitely be up.
Look forward to it.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.